Welcome to Rated Radio, the show where artists and albums are pitted against each other while their songs get rated on a scale of 0 to 10. I'm your host, Shane Wyndham, and this is the Season 12 finale. Hope you're ready for a fight. Alright, so we are going to walk the best and the worst of this season, but before we get to that, I did have some matchups here. So I put a list together of every artist that had been covered in the show. I randomized it, and the top 3 are what I went with, and then I randomized the albums that were left in their discography from there, so this is 100% random. That being said, we're going to start with Fall Out Boy, their Mania album from 2018. This was my middle album. Of the 10 tracks, I thought 9 were great, but none of those got a flawless rating. My bottom track was Heaven's Gate, and my top track was Wilson. The music makes me feel like I guessed wrong at the masked singer being Brendan Urie. Next up was Imagine Dragons. I got their Loom album from 2024. This was my bottom album. Of the 9 tracks, I only thought 2 were great, and those 2 did not get a flawless rating. My bottom track was Gods Don't Pray, and my top track was a toss-up between Eyes Closed and Fire in These Hills. The music makes me feel like I'm hearing someone attempt a 4-chord 90s alt-pop sound challenge. And then we wound up with John Mayer and his Battle Studies album from 2009. This was obviously my top album. Of the 11 tracks, I thought 11 were great, but none of those got a flawless rating. My bottom track was the Crossroads cover, and my top track was Edge of Desire. The music here makes me feel like no one's heart ever truly stops warring with itself. What you can't see, unless you're tracking my ratings via the Patreon page, is that I had fondness for most everything listened to this week. So I wouldn't say any of these albums are bad, but I do think they highlight a nice range of differences between what takes a song from a rating of 5 all the way up to a rating of 10 on my scale. When I give a song a 5, I'm owning that there's just something about it which I find pleasurable to hear. From there, I'll add points for things like a strong chorus, not being too repetitive, having diversified melodies, impressing with either lyrics or vocals, and having a stellar bridge. There's a bit more to it than that, and plenty of these things still end up being emotionally subjective, but it's good for me to have reminders right now that it's okay to like a song, even think it's iconic, without being able to rate it as great. Recently, I've been re-rating the first 10 seasons of the show for people to have searchable access to on Patreon, and I got hit by the struggle bus while listening to, of all things, 3 6 Mafia's song Hit a Motherfucker. Now that song has what I'd call a legendary chorus. Somebody clips it and you'll probably like it if you're into rap. You'll certainly never forget it. But because the melody never changes, the chorus repeats too much, there's no breakdown, and plenty of the lyrics don't pack much memorable punch, I couldn't call it great. Not the biggest issue, except that other tracks on the album with less punchy choruses were getting higher marks, and that had really been bothering me until I hit this week's set of listens. Plenty of the Imagine Dragons Loom tracks, especially the love songs, are ones I'd like to hear while shuffling through my playlist of songs rated at 7 or better. But I couldn't get the majority of songs on that disc above a 6 because it's guilty of the same melodic monotony found on many rap albums, where the backing tune just never changes throughout the song, and what they do to distract from this is to layer in additional bits of bombast or noise effects at certain moments. The lyrics on that album were also middling overall, so while I like most choruses, it positions itself to be thought of as lesser in the ears of those who care about melodic variety, keeping things fresh during a listen. Fall Out Boy's Mania album only fares better because of its willingness to add extra melodies or a bridge in more places than Imagine Dragons did. Fall Out Boy's lyrics are miles better here than the random word generator I've found them to be in other spots, but Mania also suffers from having nothing carrying it higher than the passing grade of greatness. John Mayer's Battle Studies, imperfect though it also is, won this week with extreme ease. Neither of the competitors' discs reaching the same heights in any place outside of the Robert Johnson cover of Crossroads. Battle Studies tended to get knocked back from flawless ratings for being too repetitious or having so-so bridges. But in terms of lyrical and musical appeal for those seeking longevity, John may as well have had all aces up his sleeve here. Again though, most all of what exists across these 3 LPs has solid chorus work. Most folks won't care about much more than that. Hell, many professional reviewers would probably throw Loom above Mania for being brighter and more succinct than the Fall Out Boy effort. What I think I'm getting at here is that I know plenty of people will disagree with my takes this time around, and that's okay. Objectively, I think they're wrong, but that's okay. Some of us want to hear Beethoven's Für Elise in its complex entirety, while others would prefer a music box simply play the first 5 seconds or so over and over and over. I'm not here to judge your preferences, only to point out why the 5-second sample isn't nearly as compelling to a rating scale like mine. Now let's go ahead and talk about the best and the worst of this season. It's obviously going to be a little different this time around. Everything has changed. My co-host is gone. I'm doing plus seasons on top of the normal ones. I'm doing deep dives. The deep dives aren't complete yet. It's going to be a little messy, but let's talk this through as it stands right now. In the normal matchups, the 16 artists we've covered so far this season, fewest sevens was a tie between Rod Stewart and POD, but POD's album had more tracks, making it this season's biggest dud. Most sevens went to Train's AM Gold album. Most eights, Tracy Lawrence's Sticks and Stones album. As far as most nines, there were no songs that got a 10 this season. Only 5 of the artists landed a single 9, and Train's AM Gold, belonging to this category, would take the win here for also being rated as listenable from start to finish. Other great from beginning to end listens worth noting include the Tracy Lawrence album and Peter Cetera's World Falling Down, but Train definitely won out in season 12. Then the 16 artists that were covered in the plus episodes, fewest sevens went to Pussifer's Via's for Vagina album. Most sevens, that'd be Silverchair's Freak Show, which was also rated as listenable from start to finish. Most eights, Ben Folds 5, Whatever and Ever Amen. Most nines, Ben Folds 5, Whatever and Ever Amen. Most tens, yeah, it's Ben Folds again. Although Pumpkins and Harvey Danger were also in the running, because they additionally had at least 110 on their albums. As far as great from start to finish listens go, it probably goes without saying, but the Ben Folds album is fully listenable and the winner of this season of Plus. As far as the deep dives, well, I'm not yet done. Fewest sevens. A few discs only got a single 7, but ICP's Yum Yum Bedlam had the most tracks come up short of a 7. Most things rated at 7 or better. That would be disc 1 of Blink's California. It's also tied with George Strait's Love Is Everything album. Most 8s, again, it's disc 1 of Blink-182's California LP. Most 9s, Dashboard Confessionals, The Places You Have Come to Fear the Most. And the most 10s award is also going to Dashboard's Places album. Now, there were 6 albums rated listenable from beginning to end, but Dashboard's Places LP is among those, making it the winner of the deep dives for this season, edging out Blink-182's California. I'd also like to commend the other artists here who landed 1 or more songs rated at 10, which include Thrice, Copeland, Blink-182, Pink Floyd, Tech Nine, and Queensryche. If you want to see any of these scores, I've got visuals up for you on the Patreon page, but you can hear them in playlist form on Spotify as well. 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s, they're all there and separated for your enjoyment. While I'm happy that no album this season has failed to deliver at least one great track, I'd also point out that not a single album got rated at 8 or better the whole way through either. So for whatever it's worth, the hunt for that truly flawless album continues. Please like or comment if you're still listening, and remember, you can send all kinds of feedback to rated_radio@yahoo.com. You can even see the majority of songs I rate, as I've told you over and over again here, by clicking join for free at patreon.com/ratedradio. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, fill your world with music.